excellent acting by the distinguished cast, combined with director Shiro Toyoda's confident direction to produce an enchanting, if not downright haunting, movie. Actor Tetsuya Nakadai became an internationally famous screen presence through his appearances in such films as Nagin no Joken, 1959, Seppuku, 1961, and Yojimbo, 1963. Well, he uses his coolly intense acting style to marvelous effect, giving even greater impact to his sudden explosions of hideous violence. Actress Mayumi Ozura specialized in playing amorous young women opposite immature men with sexual mommy hang-ups. Other notable versions of this classic Japanese ghost story were made in 1949, 1956, and a classic silent version of the tale, Shimpu Yatsuya Kaidan, 1928, was also done. Sadly, this is now a lost film, at least as far as I know. Director Shiro Toyoda would return to the horror genre with the excellent Shigo Kuken in 1969, something I'll get into in part 2 of our program. Now, let's move on to DAIMAJIN, 1966, which is also known as Maijin, which is also known as Maijin the Monster of Terror, which is also known as Maijin the Hideous Idol, which is also known as The Devil Got Angry, which is also known as The Vengeance of the Monster. This is directed by Kimichi Yasuda for Dai Studios. Now, Maijin is in fact the Japanese equivalent of the Golem, the clay defender of the Jewish people, which is from the, Jewish folklore of the medieval period, who was brought to life by magical rites from the Kabbalah. Well, the Meijin is a type of gigantic warrior statue which can be roused, and like its Jewish counterpart, comes to the defense of the people against tyrannical despots. Set in the 18th century, the story begins as a conventional period action movie. The nobleman, Samazuki, played by Ryutaro Gemi, usurps power in the region by killing the local lord and enslaving the population. The deposed lord's children, Kurosa, played by Miwa Takada, and Tadafumi, played by Yoshiko Oyama, escape and hide for 10 years on the mountain where the Japanese golem Meijin lies dormant in the form of a statue and basically rests sleeping. Now, on the children's return to the village, all efforts to counter the cruel rule of the despotic usurper fail. But when Gomi also kills a priestess and sends his men to destroy the Meijin, the statue, the Japanese golem comes to life as the earth shakes and cracks open. The giant Japanese golem then destroys the tyrant's castle and pins the villain to the wall of the castle, impaling him with a huge spike. A mixture of monster movie and historical drama, director Yashuda's picture remains a hybrid, an interesting hybrid, although it was sufficiently successful to spawn 2 sequels. Yoshiki Kuroda's special effects, mostly process work in the last third of the film, are expertly achieved and generally integrate the rubber-suited wearing Meijin, or Japanese golem, well into the sequences. Now, the sequel to Meijin, DAIMAJIN, is called DAIMAJIN Ikaru, which is also 1966. This movie is also known as The Return of the Giant Meijin and The Return of Meijin. This is directed by Kenji Mishumi. The movie starts with the Japanese golem, the Meijin, losing its temper when a colossal effigy of it is destroyed by, villains. From its base in the middle of the lake, Meijin wreaks havoc until the heroine's tears, falling into the lake, persuade the Japanese golem to go home. Though still obviously a rubber-suited actor, the Japanese golem is quite impressive, and the scene of it creating a path through the water is very reminiscent of Cecil B. DeMille's Parting of the Red Sea in the director's classic The Ten Commandments, 1956. Now, the third and final film about the giant Japanese golem, a type of warrior god in full samurai regalia, is known as DAIMAJIN Kayagushu, which is also known as Meijin Strikes Again. This is directed by Aze Mori, and believe it or not, also came out in 1966. All three Japanese Golem movies were major box office successes, and they were all released in the same year, 1966. Well, this film opens with a traditional monster movie cataclysm, an earthquake, a flood, fires, and lots of crumpled up houses. This time the Meijin, or Japanese Golem, rescues 3 children from the clutches of a tyrannical villain who lords it over the village. Now, Yoshiki Kuroda's special effects are in fact equal a match for Toshiyara's work on the Godzilla films at Toho Studios. Although Kuroda had less occasion to practice his skills, he would soon graduate to directing and was responsible for the spectacular Yokai Daisenso, 1968, also known as Spook Warfare, also known as Ghosts on Parade, a mixture of ghost story and monster movie genres, something I'll get into in the second installment of this program. All right, let's move on to Karyu Daikesen, 1966, for Toei Studios, which is also known as The Grand Duel in Magic, which is also known as The Magic Serpent, which is also known as Frogo and Drogo. This is by director Tetsuya Yamamuchi. This movie is a cross between a costume drama, a monster movie, and a, fairy tale. It is crudely acted,